City of St. Helena Special City Council meeting, Tuesday, January 12th, 2021. This is our first meeting back in the new year. I hope everybody had a good holiday season. Want to remind folks we're still in the COVID emergency, but working towards recovery, and we'll have more information about that in our 6 o'clock regular meeting. So this is our special meeting for appointments for hearing from our applicants for the Planning Commission and the Water Board. And we're going to hear from Priya Nixon, our Assistant to the City Manager, to talk about our remote connection and also our Spanish interpretation.
Thank you, Mayor Ellsworth. Let me share my screen really quickly here. So I just want to let everyone know that tonight's meeting will have live Spanish interpretation. To access the interpretation, you will need to use the Zoom application from either your phone, tablet, or computer. Instructions on how to download the Zoom app are listed in English and Spanish on the agenda that's posted on the website. And once you download the Zoom app, you'll see a small globe at the bottom or top of the screen, and you'll want to click on that globe and you'll have access to the live Spanish interpretation. And then I'm going to switch over here to talk about how folks can participate if they are just joining in by phone. So if you're joining in by phone and would like to speak during public comment, you may do so by calling in 669-900-6833. And then at the prompt, you're going to want to enter 890-3477-1128 and then press pound. And then to raise your hand, you'll want to press *9 during public comment. For those folks who are joining and would like to speak for public comment through the app, there is a raise hand feature that you can press. It's either at the top or the bottom of the screen. And you can press that when public comment is called for. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And now we don't have it on the agenda, but I'd like to do the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you would mute your microphones and please place your hand on your heart and follow with me. Of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And so our roll call, please.
Mayor Ellsworth.
Here.
Vice Chair Dory.
Here.
Councilor Chateau.
Here.
Hardy.
Here.
Hall.
Here.
Very good. Thank you. So now this is a special meeting, and so public comment is confined to the issue on this agenda. But what we're going to do is have the public comment after we hear from the applicants. So this the structure we're going to use, and I've discussed this with the vice mayor as well as the city clerk and assistant to the city manager. We're going to welcome the applicants first with the Planning Commission to speak. We've received the applications, gone over the letters, become familiar with all the candidates. And this is an opportunity for those candidates to sort of round out what might have come up on the in the applications. So the plan here is that everybody will have up to 3 minutes to speak. We have to be brief because we have many applicants. After each applicant, there will be an opportunity for the council to ask very brief clarifying questions. We don't really have time to get into too much substance. But if something comes up after a candidate, please, please ask a question. We'll work through the Planning Commission candidates, and then we will move to the Water Board candidates. After that, we'll open it up to public comment for both sections. And then if there's some time left over, we can have a little more dialogue. But the concern is that we have until 6 o'clock. And so we want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to speak. So with that, I'm going to move to the staff report here. And let's see if I can bring that up. Let's see, I'm not getting it on my iPad here. I was just here. Cindy, do you have the staff report up there? Who is there? Are we going to get introduced into this by a staff member here?
It's appropriate for you to call on as we discussed, how you want to run the meeting. You had mentioned that you want to invite all of the Planning Commission applicants to join and introduce themselves and give a brief 3-minute.
Here we go. I'm sorry. I just got the staff report up. So the background on this is in November, the city clerk had put out the recruitment seeking applicants from the community to fill vacancies on the Planning Commission and the newly formed Water Advisory Board. The recruitment seeking applicants for from the community to fill vacancies concluded in December 2020. And the city received a total of 9 applications for the Planning Commission and 7 for the Water Advisory Board. As we talk about we'll get through the Planning Commission first, and then we'll talk a little bit about the Water Advisory Board before we get into that. So we'll start with the Planning Commission. We have our applicants here. So what we're going to do at the 6 o'clock meeting is when we're going to actually do our discussion and voting amongst the council, but this is a chance for us to hear from the applicants. One planning commissioner vacancy was vacated by Bobby Monette with an expiring term of June 30th, 2024. That will be opening up a 4-year term. And Lester Hardy was elected to the city council and vacated his planning commission seat, and that expires on June 30th, 2021. Is that correct? Do we have a incorrect date there?
No, that's correct.
Okay.
It
So
should
there'll
be
be one-
20. It should be 2024.
Okay, so we'll have a 2-year term and a 4-year term. 9 applications were received.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
excuse me. The one term will expire. Mr. Hardy's term expires June 2021.
Okay.
And then there will be a 4-year term that will run from June 2020 through June 2024. On your ballot sheet says they're incorrect. I had 2021 and 2022. It should be, instead of 2022, it should be 2024.
Okay, I think we need a little clarification. Okay, because and vacated his planning commission seat expiring June 30th, 2021.
That would be
We'll have to
Lester.
get a little. Okay, so we'll just make sure we have Ms. Chateau.
Clarify, it's that one of the positions going to be a 6-month position, starting now until that date, June in 2021. The other is going to be 4 years.
Correct.
My understanding was the one term was a 2-year term. Is there some misunderstanding? One was a 2-year and one was a 4-year term. Is the city manager available to jump on with some clarification?
So Bobby's term expired on June 30th, 2020. So that would, therefore, there would be a 4-year term starting July 1, 2020 for 4 years. So that would be a 4-year term. Well, I mean, we're partially into it. And then the second term would be Mr. Hardy's, Councilmember Hardy's, that would have expired June 2021. So we need someone to fulfill the rest of Councilmember Hardy's vacated position. And then we need someone appointed to the 4-year term that was left by Bobby leaving the Planning Commission, which would be a 4-year term ending in 2024.
Mr. Vice Mayor, was that your understanding as well, that the one term was a short 6-month term?
Yes.
Okay, that must have been a misunderstanding on my part there. Okay, so what we are going to do now is we're going to hear from our applicants. I have a list here. I can go through the list unless some of the applicants would like to just put a hand up and and volunteer to begin. If that occurs, we can start that way. If not, I will just go through the list as I have printed. I'm seeing Leslie Stanton.
And Mayor Ellsworth, would you like me to promote her as a panelist?
Yes, please. And then Rosara Segura.
Okay. And so Leslie, you should be able to unmute yourself. And if you'd like, you can put on your camera.
Am I live?
We can hear you.
Okay. Hi, council, mayor, and anyone else that's out there. I would like to I have a short statement to read. I would like to serve on the Planning Commission as I feel the coming years will be critical in shaping St. Helena's future. I feel our leaders of the past have been pretty good stewards to this community and left us a legacy that we want to protect and shape in a thoughtful and balanced manner. The Planning Commission is entrusted with determining what development fits in with St. Helena's vision. Having lived here for 50 years, I have been able to see the choices and decisions that have shaped the community. I would always come to the table with an open mind and be willing to listen and weigh all factors. St. Helena is at a critical point where we are facing many challenges: water, affordable housing, infrastructure, environmental concerns, and social and racial equity. Having worked in public service for the city of St. Helena for the past 34 years, I have gotten to know many in our community, from the wealthiest to our homeless population. I have been able to see several generations of kids grow up here. I am deeply committed to recognizing the needs and concerns of our underserved population, and this is where the Planning Commission is tasked with shaping how we address affordable and workforce housing with equitable planning. I see affordable housing as a way to support our workers, our businesses, and our industry, and keep the money circulating within our community. For those of you who are not familiar with my history, my grandfather purchased property in St. Helena, Oakville, and Yountville in the late 40s, purely as an investment, not to farm, but to develop. Fortunately, his idea did not work out as he had planned, and my father was able to preserve the land for farming and moved our family up to St. Helena in 1971. Half my father's long life was devoted to farming. My mother, brothers, sister, and I continue his legacy. My life changed in the best way when I moved to St. Helena permanently between my junior and senior years of high school. This town and community hold a special place in my heart. This is the place I chose to come back to after college, and it is where I raised my two children. The numbers of past and present St. Helena families here that have touched my life are immeasurable. My commitment is to this community. Although many know me from working at the St. Helena Library, where I still return each day to volunteer post-retirement, I have also been involved with a wide array of local, civic, social, and nonprofit organizations. I am approachable and want to be a voice for the community, because community is what has always made St. Helena the special place that it is. Thank you for considering me.
Thank you very much. And the way we'll do this, if council has any clarifying questions for a candidate, please just speak up, anything brief. And if not, then we will move to our next candidate or applicant. So I see a hand for Ms. Segura. Priya, are we able to?
Yes,
her
she
in?
is joining right now. Thank you. Okay, Ms. Segura, you should be able to turn on your camera and speak.
Welcome.
Oh my goodness.
Rosara, can you hear us?
I can hear you, but okay, there was another something popped up on my screen. So thank you for that. Thank you for your patience. Mayor Ellsworth and rest of the council members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you, and thank you for carefully reviewing my application. As we begin the process of a comprehensive update of zoning codes, now may be the most important time ever to examine how we can create a full spectrum community, one open to people from all walks of life, income levels, ages, genders, orientations, and ethnicities. That is why I'm excited about the opportunity to serve. I don't claim to know everything about planning. I don't know anything about creating a full spectrum community. I think that I live in one. I don't claim, but I do offer a unique and important sensitivity and passion based on decades of lived experience as a longtime Latina resident, small business owner, and as a mother. Given this wonderful reality, I also realize that I have the added responsibility of being a role model for civic engagement and participation of our younger Latinx community. How can we encourage more engagement and participation from our younger Latinx members if they're not seeing one that looks like them? Since I can remember, I have heard comments such as, "Where is the Latinx representation?" Here I am. I have much to offer other than my ethnicity. Diversity on our boards and commissions has a significant positive impact on our community. The cities of Calistoga and Napa are beautiful examples of that. Being a lifelong bilingual, bicultural resident, raising my family here, owning and operating my own business, serving our essential workers since 1989, actively participating in St. Lena civic affairs, and owning and operating a vineyard, I have developed a unique understanding of the inner workings of life in St. Lena as very few can match. Having served as a trustee and chair of the Napa Valley College Board of Trustees, I have also developed a deep understanding of how the government process works. It is definitely not like the private sector at all. The only similarity is the responsibility, and I take that very seriously. My primary focus will be to ensure that the actions taken by the Planning Commission are consistent with our zoning codes, the goals, policies, and implementing actions set out by our updated general plan. I hope that in that regard, all of you are fully committed to treating all applicants fairly and impartially and without any biases or preconceived outcomes. That's what every applicant expects and deserves. My commitment to fairness, impartiality, and the rule of law, together with my unique and unmatched local experience, will serve the City Council and our community very well if I'm appointed to the Planning Commission. I would be extremely honored and privileged to accept that appointment. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. Are we seeing any other of the Planning Commission applicants? We have on the line the other applicants, Mr. Lauper, Mr. Fowler, Mr. Kuntz, Ms. Rothfeld, Mr. Mills, Mr. Rue, and Ms. Ward. Oh, good. We have some hands up here. So I'm seeing Mr. Rue.
All right, I'm promoting Mr. Rue to a panelist.
All right. Hi, good evening.
Welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be with you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. I'm Patrick Rue. I remember attending my first Planning Commission meeting when I was a 10-year-old. It was the city of Moore Park. I was helping my dad with a PowerPoint presentation because he still doesn't know how to use PowerPoint, but I helped him along. Anyhow, I remember how nervous I was, clicking the next button and all of the graphs that I presented or that I put together for my dad. Just remember thinking like, wow, those people hold so much power. Anyway, I never thought I'd be applying to be one of those people, but here we are. I love the city. I'd like the opportunity to serve. I would like to be I think I have a kind of an applicant's perspective when it comes to the planning process. Over the past 12 years, I've applied for 5 use permits in 3 cities: city of Placentia, Anaheim, and Orange. I'm originally from Orange County. Being a business owner in this city with the location both on Main Street and in the industrial area, I understand some of the different needs of the different zoning areas. I've never practiced law, but I did study land use law when I was in law school, and I have an interest in the legal process that comes along with city planning. And just overall, I'm excited for the opportunity to be part of the zoning code update process, and I have some ideas that I think would promote vibrant businesses to locate in this amazing city. I'm open to either vacancy, whether the 6-month term or the longer term. But if I was picked for the shorter term, I would certainly intend to apply again to get a longer term at that point. Anyway, any questions I can help answer?
Thank you. Appreciate that. Any clarifying questions from the council at this point? Seeing none, thank you for your application and for your comments, and we'll go forward from there.
Great.
And I'm seeing Ms. Ward.
All right, I'm promoting Ms. Ward to panelist. She should be able to speak shortly.
Hi there. Hopefully you guys
Welcome.
can see and hear me. Hi. Thank you so much to the mayor and council members for hearing from all of us, including myself. I'm a local kid. I grew up here and have spent the last 20 years in different aspects of real estate practice, both here and on the East Coast, and have come home, I guess is the best way to say it, almost 2 years ago. And I am excited about the prospect of being able to serve the city that I absolutely love. I'm also really excited about the new general plan and the updates for codes and zoning. And I know a good bit about that based on the experience that I've had for the last 20 years in all different size cities as well. I'm really excited about the prospect of helping facilitate some affordable housing. And also the kind of helping support the kind of town that we want to see and the kind of Main Street that we hopefully want to see, which is a vibrant one. And I think it's really important to say that I kind of come into this application process with no bias. And I think that's a really important aspect for any planning commission member, is to come in with no bias towards kind of any situation that presents itself, whether it's residential or commercial. But I am really excited and would love the opportunity to serve. I had said that I would be more than happy to take the 6-month position and then would intend to reapply at that June date, but would happily serve for the 6 months if that was something that was appealing to the city council and the mayor. But I'm excited and look forward to seeing kind of the decisions that you all make.
Thank you. We appreciate the comments. Thank you for the application and for being here.
Thank you.
And now we're looking at Ms. Rothfeld. Ms. Rothfeld?
All right, I am promoting to a panelist here.
Hi.
Hello?
Hi.
Hi there.
Thank you
Welcome.
so much. Thanks for having me. My name is Marika. And I just want to say, lay out a couple factors that I think delineate me from some of the other candidates. I have the perspective of a younger member of the town. I also grew up here. I actually studied for the LSAT and the bar at the public library. So very familiar with the libraries, the local areas. I worked as a lawyer, as a litigation associate at a firm that specializes in land use and real property issues for the past 1.5 years. And then I recently started working at Duckhorn Winery as corporate counsel. So I love being back. I am truly invested in the evolution of our town and the well-being of our town, and I'm unencumbered by any business interests, which I think makes me a good candidate there. And I'm really interested genuinely in the legal elements of the position and the opportunity to have a hand in shaping the code and the housing element. It's just really appealing to me. I've read the code, I've read the general plan, and I'm looking forward to hopefully getting to shape that a little bit more. And I've served on the sustainability committee while I was studying for the LSAT in 2011. So have some experience with local government as well. And I'm happy to serve on for the 6-month term or the 4-year term, and open to any questions that you might have.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you for being here and your comments. Are there any questions from council? Seeing none at this point, we say thank you very much and appreciate your being here and your comments. So now we will move. I see Mr. Fowler. Hello. Let's see, I'm not getting a audio from Mr. Fowler. Is that just me or is anybody else?
Mr. Fowler, did you also call in by chance? Okay, so you didn't call in. I'm going to try and allow you. Let me try something else. It's showing that you are connected to our audio. Let me. I'm going to bring you back. I'm going to try this one more time. Okay. Hold on 1 second. Okay. All right.
Shall we?
All right, I'm going to try this. I just tried one more time. He should be joining us now.
I'm still not hearing anything. Do you want to work on it from your end and we'll bring in Mr. Mills and then circle back to you, Mr. Fowler? Is that okay? Well, let's do that and then we'll circle back. We have somebody at the 890 number. Okay, see Mr. Mills. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Ellsworth. Thank you, members of the council. I am grateful to live in St. Helena. It's a town I first visited many years ago to interview Louis Martini and Joe Heitz and some other great winemakers. Today, St. Helena faces real challenges. Some of them are unique to our town. Some of them we share with all of California and indeed the West Coast. Fortunately, despite the many dimensions of division in the nation's politics, this community continues to embody respect, honesty, and fairness in public matters. On many issues of concern to residents and businesses, the Planning Commission is often the first forum for open participation and discussion on issues ranging from the general plan to zoning code revision, small things like lot line adjustments and garage teardowns, big things like house designs and subdivision plans and hotel projects. With that responsibility, it seems to me that the commission members have and in the past have embodied 5 obligations. And to me, those are first, to be informed deeply about the specific issues that come before the commission. Members rightly rely on the city's excellent staff, and yet also they do and must do their own analysis and evaluation. Second, I think it's essential that commission members be knowledgeable about the context of those specific issues, the goals and needs of residents and businesses, as well as the laws under which the commission operates. We must be alert to the critical constraints around the decisions the commission makes: water, fire, housing, revenue, of course. We must be fair and open in making decisions, bringing to those decisions only the record before us and not our own personal interests. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, the commission is collaborative among its own members, with the council, with city staff, with applicants, and with all of the residents and businesses who make St. Helena the place we happily call home. I'd be pleased to serve. Thank you.
Thank you for the comments and for being here. Are there any questions from council? Seeing none, we appreciate your being here, and we'll circle back as we go. Thank you. Now we have a 890 number.
Yes, I'm going to allow them to speak here, so give me one moment. And you should be able to unmute yourself, and please state your full name. You may need to press *6. And I'm going to ask you to unmute. There you go.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Thank you very much. I also have you on the screen, so I've utilized 2 pieces of technology tonight. Thank you very much for the ability and the capacity to introduce myself tonight to you. As you can see, I submitted my application with my background.
Could you announce your name,
frankly,
please?
a rather new resident.
Mr. Kuntz, could you announce your name to the panel, please?
Sorry, I didn't catch it. I'm sorry.
Okay, my name is Eddie Kuntz, K-U-N-T-Z.
Thank you.
I'm pleased to submit my application for the Planning Commission. I also attached to my application my background and some personal information about myself. Frankly, I am a new resident to St. Helena. I purchased a house a number of years ago, about 5 or 6 years ago, and like the community so much that my wife and I have decided to move here permanently from Texas, and we did so about a year ago. I'd like to become involved in the community, work for the betterment of the community, think that I have the necessary background and requisite information in my work history to serve on the Planning Commission, and we look forward to do so. I would just add in closing that I have been active in other community affairs over the years, and frankly consider it my duty as a good citizen to be active and to participate for the betterment of the community. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for the comments and for being here. Any council questions? Seeing none, we will then move. I believe we have Mr. Fowler back.
Okay, I'm going to try and promote him again as a panelist.
All right, I'm here. Can you hear me and see me?
We can hear and see you.
All right. Okay, so first off, council members, mayor, I appreciate the opportunity to apply. I wrote a brief little statement here. Thank you for considering me for a seat on the Planning Commission. It looks like a good pool of candidates came forward. I may lack some of the experience and credentials that some of the candidates have, but I can I do bring a history of growing up in St. Helena and watching it change over time. Leslie and Rosero can obviously bring a lot of the same knowledge, and a couple other candidates that I've become aware of now. Before moving back to St. Helena 2.5 years ago, my wife and family and I spent nearly 18 years up in Truckee. I watched Truckee grow from something similar in feel to what St. Helena was back in the 1980s and early 90s to what Truckee is today. When the recession happened, Truckee and its downtown area turned into a ghost town for a couple of years. It was heartbreaking to watch. Housing prices tanked, and there were many, many vacant storefronts. Though I don't see housing prices plummeting here, I do see businesses closing downtown, which it's sad to see. And I feel like there's something that's been going on for years that no one's been able to sort of put their finger on the pulse of it. I've been toying with the idea of joining the Planning Commission nearly since we moved back, but wanted to take time to integrate back into the community and see how things ebbed and flowed. Submitting my application wasn't because of a story that was run in the Star saying that there's a lack of applicants. It's been on my mind for a long time. I want my children to see the community grow and thrive in a way that's not quite happening right now. I want them to keep seeing the same sense of community my parents taught me. I want this to be a thriving town again. We all want that, and I think we can. I think it'll take good measure, calculation, and some level-headed leaps of faith to sort of buck what's happened in the past. Growing up here, I have fond memories of occasional dinners with Audie Hain, who lived around the corner from us. In high school, I was part of the group of students who initiated and started videoing the city council meetings back in Carnegie Hall that were broadcast locally. I worked closely with Dorothy Gard to help create the city's first skate park with horrid movable features on some horrid asphalt. I think that sensible growth can happen. I think a very good starting point is with the zoning ordinance that's being updated right now. I think this is one of those sort of landmark moments that I would love to jump in on. The Planning Commission meeting a couple weeks ago just helped sort of cement it. And it broke my heart when I saw a multi-million-dollar generic modern farmhouse get approved on Spring Street in a area that's zoned for high density residential. It's the property that was there was very, am I over my time limit?
We're just getting to the time limit. So if you want to wrap up.
Yeah, I'll wrap up here in a minute. So it's stuff like that. I think because what I saw was it basically being unenforceable was with the high density residential, and it's kind of sad to me. I do have background in real estate, so I'm very familiar with zoning. I wouldn't consider myself pro-growth, nor for that matter would I consider myself no growth. I would really, really enjoy this opportunity, and I'd love for my children and other kids in this community and families in this community to see some positive change. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Want to thank all the applicants. That, I believe, is our list of applicants for the Planning Commission, Priya. I believe we've gotten through that list, and want to thank everybody. The willingness to step forward to participate is a wonderful thing here in St. Helena, and helps keep this town vibrant, moving forward, and working together as a community. So thank you for everybody's applications. So with that, we're going to move now. We'll be putting our, oh, I'm sorry. Do we have Mr. Lauper? Is he, did we see another hand? Ms. Nixon?
I am looking right now to see, I don't see a hand. I'm looking to see if there is a name, and I'm not seeing a name. Cindy, maybe you can look as well.
I'm not seeing one.
I do know we will have an applicant joining us, a planning commission applicant joining us after 5. So just so you're aware,
Okay,
Mr. I
maybe
believe
we
his name is Chisler.
We can circle back. Now, Cindy, you've sent out the sheets for preferences from the council members. And is that, I just want to clarify the timing on that. Will we be submitting those for the 6 p.m. meeting, is my understanding?
You will be doing the voting during new business when the item has come up. We will call for a 5-minute recess for you to take your votes, and then you will, or your weighted vote, and then you will send them to me for the tallying.
Okay.
So
and the
those are just
council
for you
all
to
has-
have on hand.
Very
Yes,
good.
all the council has updated forms.
Okay, everybody's got those. Great. So thank you very much to the Planning Commission applicants, and we will at our regular meeting get into discussion and appointment there, nomination and appointment. So with that, we're going to move to our Water Advisory Board. And this is where the City Council appoints the Water Advisory Board when the City Council determines a water shortage emergency exists within the criteria established by the St. Helena Municipal Code, Section 13.04.220. We're certainly hoping for more rain, but we need to be prepared, and this is part of what we do. The board's advisory role is largely focused on evaluating requests for exemptions to city's water emergency allocation for residential and non-residential customers, as detailed in St. Helena Municipal Code Section 13.04.240, subsection C, evaluating requests for exceptions to water conservation measures and evaluating requests for water connections that would otherwise be prohibited. Notification and details of the recruitment was posted on the city's website as well as through the city's e-news channels, and that's an attachment 1 and attachment 2. So I think it's important we make sure it's clear, and the vice mayor may have a few thoughts on this, but this board is not a policy-making board, but is here to evaluate requests as we go into if we go into the stages when we don't receive the rain, we need to be able to be a listening body to the community for those that might have special needs related to a water emergency. So this gives us the ability to interact with the community and have a listening body on these water matters, which are, as we know, quite critical. And certainly any scarcity of water demonstrates the absolute value of water to a community and to civilization in general. It is our core necessity along with oxygen and air. So this board is going to be, there were 6 applications for the 2 public member seats and 1 application for the winery seat, the winery customer seat. Then we also have to appoint a city council member and a planning commission member. My thought is to address the city council and the planning commission. We'll be doing that later once we appoint some new planning commissioners. That will give us a larger pool to look at for the planning commission seat. And so we have 6 members for the 2 public member seats. And I'm seeing that we have folks on the line. Are there any initial comments from the council on this issue? Mr. Vice Mayor, did you have any thoughts on the helping folks understand the mission here?
I think you set it out fairly clearly, Mayor, and I appreciate you doing that. I think one of our jobs as leaders is to try to diminish confusion and frustration. Sometimes people get on boards and they have a certain expectation. So to the extent we can be clear in what the mission and role of this body is, the better, so that our folks who are applying, which I'm very grateful for, fully understand the relatively limited scope of this particular body. So, and you did a good job of explaining that, and I appreciate it.
Very good. And I will let the community know that the city is moving forward with analysis of our water system as we move forward. So that is happening as well with an engineering-based approach, sort of concurrently with this board being appointed, but it is a separate role. Are there any other council questions or comments before we hear from these applicants? Oh, Mr. Hardy, did you have a comment?
Well, yes, it is my best understanding that the role of this board is really to serve as a kind of appeals board, so that where there are circumstances of hardship or other unique circumstances that make it difficult or really unreasonable for the city to hold a resident to strict compliance, or a business owner for that matter, to strict compliance with the water emergency rules, that we have a form of relief. We have a place that those people can go for relief from the emergency water shortage regulations. And I think that's a very important function. I think it goes directly to our concerns about fairness and social justice. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate the comments from both Vice Mayor Doring and Councilperson Hardy. I think those are very helpful for our community to understand. So with that, I'm going to open the floor here for our applicants. If they would like to put a hand up, and our assistant to the city manager can help bring them into the meeting. And if folks would speak, 3 minutes is our allotted time for each applicant. And we very much appreciate the applications and your willingness to come here and let us know a little bit more about yourself as applicants.
All right, I'm going to promote Ms. Gray. Hold on one moment. And Ms. Gray, you should be able to unmute yourself. There you go. And you can turn your camera on if you'd like.
There we go. Hi.
Hello, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. Again, my name is Beth Gray. I've been a resident here in St. Helena for the last 6 years. I believe water conservation and consumption is a critical challenge for the St. Helena community. The fact that we reached a phase 2 water shortage emergency is of great concern to me as a full-time resident. I believe that joining the Water Advisory Board is a good opportunity for me to give back to our community. In addition, I believe that my background as a CFO and finance executive has given me the skill set to solve complex problems using a data-driven approach. Throughout my career, I've managed resources and executed financial plans through collaboration with others and while leading diverse teams. And I do appreciate the clarification that this is not a policy role, but this is one of a decision on what may be some difficult decisions within the community to provide relief to individuals or businesses that may be suffering once we are put up against a challenge in terms of a water shortage. I believe my skill set will help to guide the Water Advisory Board to make rational and informed decisions for the benefit of our entire community. And I appreciate everyone's time here today, and thank you for listening to me.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for the comments. We appreciate it. Okay, we will move now. Do we see another hand up, Ms. Nixon? Oh, are there any questions from council? Sorry, I'm not seeing any. So thank you, Ms. Gray. So Ms. Nixon, are we seeing any?
Yes, Edward Poole, I'm going to promote you. You should be able to speak and turn your camera on if you'd like.
Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you, Mayor Ellsworth and council members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you and for your consideration of my application. Even though I'm not a full-time resident of St. Helena, I have been living there part-time, certainly since the shelter-in-place order. That has made me somewhat of a full-time resident, and being able to work remotely and spending more time in St. Helena. And consider myself an active member of the community. We also have an acre of Cabernet grapes that we sell to Raymond Vineyards. So that gives us a unique perspective on the valley and certainly issues related to water and water use. I bring legal experience with respect to water issues in California, and as a result of my experience with Vineyard Valley and setting a particular water rate for that community. And as a result, got to understand the city government and the water studies that were presented. Water as a resource, as you said, is increasingly valuable, and being able to assist the city in this effort would be interesting and a privilege. So thank you again.
Thank you very much for being here and your comments. We appreciate it. Any questions from council? Seeing none, we will move on. Ms. Nixon.
Yes, Richard Wallach, I'm going to promote you to a panelist here.
Okay, how's that any better?
I can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay, and I need to start a video. Okay, there we go.
We see you.
Thank you, Mayor Jeff and council members. I'm Richard Wallach. Some of you know me from my time on the Infrastructure Task Force. I have reviewed the scope of this committee. I do have some concerns about the challenges that the city will see and the number of appeals that this committee may have to deal with. So I'm wondering if part of what the committee needs to do is to understand the current level 2 emergency and the code that was recently adopted. My concern goes around interpretation. We're going to have a challenge. I understand that penalties haven't been adopted yet. The penalties that were attached to the previous presentation are very large and exceed Prop 218. I sense that there will be some challenges from the citizens if those high penalties are imposed. So I'm hoping that the board can work with the council to understand how that will be interpreted so that we don't end up with a huge number of appeals of usage. So the penalties that were proposed were like 50 cents to $1.50 a gallon, which is pretty expensive. You can buy water cheaper at Safeway. So my suggestion is that the water board be tasked with evaluating the penalty system and work with the council to help that move forward so that doesn't become a contest. So there will be questions about second homes. The previous speaker indicated that that was his situation, and the ordinance doesn't currently indicate what second homes, how they will be treated. So that may be another area that I think the board would be questioned about to appeal restrictions. So there are a lot of challenges. As most of you know, we are a very low percentage of rainfall. And the other thing that in talking to a lot of the local neighbors, most people don't understand their water bill and don't understand that the upcoming interpretation of the ordinance, that the water bill that they're receiving is in hundreds of cubic feet, but the ordinance is in gallons. And most people are will have a great deal of difficulty sorting that out. So there's, to me, a real challenge for the board to not only deal with potential appeals, but hopefully help the council prepare data so that people are knowledgeable about the constraints of the new ordinance. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for being here and for your comments. I will say that, as I mentioned, the city is working concurrently with water professionals to reassess and to assess our numbers in terms of looking at penalties. So that work is occurring at the same time. Thank you for the comments. Are there any questions or comments from council? Seeing none, we will move now to, I see Mr. Randall. Brent, I think you're on mute. Mr. Randall, I think you're on mute. There we go.
All right. Good afternoon, Council. I'm Brent Randall, the 1791 Sulphur Springs Avenue. If you reviewed my application, I volunteered and currently sit on the Open Space District for District 3. I'm a fourth generation Napa resident, the last 25 here in St. Helena as a water customer. Unfortunately, my work life, the last time we were in a water emergency, didn't allow me to participate. And I guess if there's one good thing with COVID, business travel is pretty much off the table and I'm in town all the time. So I thought this was a way I could give back on a local community. My business experience is doing a lot of negotiation and mediation. And I thought it seemed to fit well. So I'll leave it at that and I appreciate the consideration.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for the comments. Any council questions, comments? Very good. Thank you. And Ms. Nixon, are we seeing any additional applicants?
So I'm looking right now, Mayor Ellsworth, I'm not seeing any additional folks who haven't spoken, and I'm not seeing any raised hands. Cindy, maybe you can help look, just do another once over of the list here.
I do not see any raised hands. I am anticipating a member, an applicant for the Water Advisory Board to be joining shortly.
Shall we take a moment and open it up for public comment while we wait? And then hopefully, did you say that they were going to be coming right after 5? Was that?
I received an email from Mr. George Chisler that said that he would be joining us shortly after 5.
Okay. So let's take the time now to open this up to public comment to see if the public has any comment on the Planning Commission applicants or the Water Board Advisory Board applicants.
All right, so I'm looking to see if there are any raised hands. And let me just move my mouse here. I'm not seeing any raised hands at this time.
Okay. Well, we're moving pretty well on our schedule. Are there any thoughts from the council at this point? My thought is, Mr. Vice Mayor?
Well, I think one of the thoughts I had is I'm delighted, gratified, and heartened that we had so many applications for these positions. I'm very happy that folks have felt this need to do public service. It's something that I take very seriously. And so I'm delighted that we had so many really most excellent applications, folks from all walks of life, really top-notch, exemplary applicants. So the city of St. Helena is in good shape with respect to that. Now, we do need some applications for the ATSC committee, which is limping along. And so folks, give a thought to that poor committee. I'm a liaison on that committee, and we need your help there. Please come forward. So, but I want to just thank the applicants for showing a willingness and applying for these important positions for our city. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm going to just touch on something that the Vice Mayor said, and it is to see this group step forward is wonderful, and pointing out that there are other opportunities on certainly on the ATSC, the Active Transportation Sustainability Committee. These committees are a great way to participate and work in the sort of the board process, this collaborative process. So seeing this group step up and knowing that there are opportunities, ongoing opportunities to participate in the city, it helps us as a council, helps inform us. It helps create the work product. It gives us an extra capacity as a council to have the community being on these boards and commissions. So I'm seeing Mr. Hale with a hand up on the public comment.
Yes, let me allow Mr. Hale to speak. Mr. Hale, you should be able to unmute yourself and speak.
Hey there. Most of you, I spoke to Cindy this today about the position, and I came to understand that a planning commissioner needs to fill one of the seats. And I sent a note to you all that should you appoint, I would be willing to do that. So happy to answer any questions if that's needed.
That's wonderful, Mr. Hale. I'm seeing your note, and knowing that you're willing to serve on that the Water Advisory Board is really appreciate your putting that in there. So thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions from council? Seeing none. Okay, thank you,
Mr. Hale.
Okay. How are we doing? Do we have our
Oh, hold on a sec.
if we're seeing no more public comment, I should probably close that. Priya, are we seeing anybody else out there?
I'm not seeing any more public comment.
Okay, so I'm going to close the public comment, and then we'll see if we get our final applicants.
I am seeing Mr. George Schlissler with a raised hand.
Great. So let's bring him in, and he is here to speak on the Water Advisory Board position.
Okay, hold on one second. He just disappeared. Oh, okay, there he is. I'm going to promote him right now. And you should be able to unmute yourself and turn on your camera if you'd like.
Got it. Okay.
Welcome.
Well, thank you.
So we are bringing in the Water Advisory Board applicants. And if you have a few comments up to about 3 minutes, so just let us know a little bit more about yourself and your background. And understanding that this is an advisory board. It's not a policy board, but it's a board that will be listening to appeals and be listening to the community in response to a phase 2 water emergency. There will be specific instances with needs from the community that may not be addressed in the uniform phase 2 criteria. So we need to have a board that can actually listen to the community and perhaps find some more precision in how we administrate. So if you have some comments for a few minutes, up to 3 minutes, that'd be wonderful.
Sure. You know, I can't say that I've got any particular expertise in this. In fact, I probably have really no expertise in this. I really saw this being announced, and I said, you know, if somebody needs someone to help, I'm happy to try to do it. I've known Lester Hardy for a few years. He's known my wife, Laurie Shelton, for much longer, I believe. And you know, really, I own a house in St. Helena over on Stockton Street. And so this is just one of those things where I'm just happy to try to help if I can. My background has primarily been as an attorney. For the last 23 years, I've been in-house counsel for a semiconductor equipment company located down in Fremont. I've been part of board meetings, and we've done corporate governance and that type thing. But my legal practice for the company is basically anything that they need an in-house attorney to do. So it's been very varied. I've done litigation, and I've done, planning from things. I've had a little bit of interaction with the city of Fremont, but it would be less than a week in my entire 23 years there in terms of the span there. So I can't really say that I know anything about this. I just was in a situation, I saw something, I said, I'm happy to help if you need me, but I don't want to stand in the way of anyone else.
Well, thank you very much. And thank you for being here, and thank you for the comments. And as we thank the other applicants for stepping up and being a part of this community and willing to serve. It means a lot here. So thank you.
Sure.
Okay, with that, I think we have all of our applicants having spoken. Mr. Lauper, I don't believe, was he going to try to get on at 5? Cindy, did you know if from the, no, okay, you hadn't heard. So with that, my thought at this point is unless there's a council comment or questions, are there any thoughts or comments from the council at this point? Our discussion will continue at the 6 o'clock meeting when we make the nominations. So any council thoughts at this point?
Well, I do have some concerns about our process, but we could take them up at the regular meeting if you think that's a better time.
Well, you might want to, if you want to sort of put those out now, then we can process that between now and then.
I'm a little concerned that the process is not fully agendized. Conversation about the process is maybe not agendized.
Okay.
Maybe the clerk could tell me otherwise. I don't have the agenda in front of me. I just want to make sure that we're not going off agenda.
Let me.
Vice Mayor Doring, are you talking about this meeting or the regular meeting?
This meeting to discuss process.
Perhaps we should push that to the beginning of the next meeting, Mr. Vice Mayor, if you feel that's more appropriate there.
I'm only suggesting it. The clerk seems to say yes too.
Fine for me.
Okay, let's do that. We'll circle back at the 6 o'clock regular meeting, and we'll begin with a little discussion on process before we get into that item, or as we get into that item. Are we everybody good with that and circling back at 6?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, we will adjourn this meeting and see you at 6. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, all the applicants. Really appreciated and the participation in the community. Thank you.